Commonwealth member countries are calling for restitution over the transatlantic slave trade. Are calls for reparations a sign of Commonwealth's influence waning across Africa? Today, 19 African countries remain part of the Commonwealth of Nations, which has a total of 56 member states across the world. Nearly all of them were once colonized by the British Empire in some shape or form. Recently, there have been calls from some of the Britain's former colonies for a reckoning over its role in the transatlantic slave trade. Leaders from member states are asked for a meaningful, respectful, and truthful discussion of reparatory justice at the recent 27th Common Heads of Government meeting. Britain has so far rejected the idea of paying monetary compensation as reparations. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, a former human rights lawyer, argued that he would rather look forward than have endless discussions about reparations evolving the past. But how do Africans weigh in on the issue? So as a human rights lawyer, the British Prime Minister is boldly telling us that he will rather look forward than look backward. Instead of addressing the atrocities that his country committed against some of this country, even though some citizens of those countries were guilty in this slave trade business, but they were the one that championed it. So what does it tell you? It tells you that they don't want to have a respectable discussion because they don't want the status quo they have been given out to be put in the appropriate measures it's supposed to be. They don't want the right history to be put out there because they don't want some of their citizens to be awakened to the atrocities they committed against some of their former colonies. It's very simple. Reparation is not about money. From the 15th to 19th century, at least 12.5 million Africans are estimated to have been taken from their homes, kidnapped, and forced to board American and European ships. They were taken across Atlantic against their will and sold into slavery across the Americas. So you can imagine 12.5 million Africans are to be estimated. So this is just an estimation. It can even be far more than that. And they were forced against their will into slavery. Some tally states that the number could be as high as 28 million victims of slavery. So it's even being equally estimated that the numbers could be at 28 million rather than the estimated 12.5. According to the UK Parliament's website, Britain's involvement in slavery trade began in 1562. By the 1730s, the UK had become the biggest slave trade nation in the world. So UK started trading on slaves in 1562, and by the 1730s, they become the biggest slave trade nation in the world. And UK itself is the country that colonized most of the countries in the world. During his trip to Nigeria, UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy said that addressing that chapter of the country's history is not about the transfer of cash, particularly at a time of a cost of living crisis around much of the globe. You see, the funniest thing is that their foreign secretary, his own ancestors, were even taken by force out of their own way. So he's equally a product of UK slave trade that started in 1562. And you know the funniest thing, at the end of the day, these same people that don't want to address the past, because without the past, the people cannot hear, addressing the past properly, the people cannot hear properly. Without addressing the past, you are expecting these countries, these people to open their minds fully to you and do things with you. The people that you demonize their ancestors, the people that you demonize their way of life, you stop their civilization. You force your own civilization that is not even working for them up to today, that has plunged them into abject poverty, into confusion. Then you expect them to behave normally and do business as usual with you. Africa, is high time we tell ourselves that this Western democracy is not working for us.